It's the third part of our Sway Back series that's to do with you doing at home a 15-minute moment, maybe 15 plus 15, and maybe even now 15 plus 15 plus 15, which takes you to a 45-minute moment. This final part for now would actually take you to a repeat of exercises that if you did for the next 6 weeks, 6 weeks is the training principal time for the body to truly change rather than just have a moment and then it disappear. So if you are a diligent client, student, practitioner of Pilates, you'll try and take this as a sway back person into your everyday life. And if all you've got is 15 minutes, try and do 15 minutes 5 times a week, rotating around the activities on part 1, 2 and 3. In relation to this workout, we're using a chair and your band again, obviously, if you've got it. Using the head cushion simply for side lying and a visual reference for your alignment. We'll continue with the standing work. You'll be going to find your chair. Before I carry on, if there's noise in the background, I am in my real life part of an industrial unit, so I get all sorts of things happening either side. But just tune that out, tune me in, and life will go well for us. We're a very real and live studio. Your feet are going to be parallel, and as we said before, they're slightly wider than the normal kind of fist width apart. So I take it to the point where I feel a connection with that band. The band can be a wee bit higher up to make life easier. The lower down it goes, the more it affects the whole of the leg. But if you need strong and ankles aren't strong, it ends up too low. Okay, finding your core connection. You go to slow breathing. So for this squatting, we're going to breathe, slowly inhaling to take ourselves down, and breathing out to pull ourselves up. Once you've got your squats going, place your fingers perfectly armpits wide as your chest. So I have the perfect alignment in that my fingers and my feet allow my trunk and therefore my thighs to find a true alignment. The inhaling is slow so that the breath out, you can actually monitor the change or the shifts that need to take place. Remember that when you breathe out, that's your cue for drawing the pelvic floor up and feeling for the heels as the body goes back into its straightness and then back into hinging. Remember, we do the continuous use of a squat because it's possibly the most functional alignment activity you can do that brings to the body both strength and stability. And also, the day you stop squatting is the day you'll lose your range and strength and will reduce, therefore, your lifestyle. The ability to take the hips backwards, take the knees backwards, keep the load through the heels, and use breathing rather than holding the breath matters. The other thing you can tune into here, because you've got a surface, is that as your hips bend, your elbows bend, and if you're really smart, you might even have a central focus on the work surface that you're using or the chair. So find symmetry through visual awareness. We're going to stay down in this one. Go back to just noticing your breath, inhaling and exhaling. And you've got all the time in the world now to breathe out and shrink the rib cage in and the navel to the spine. Breathing in, the ribs go wide. Breathing out without a change of spine shape, the shrinking of the ribs, melting almost away under the waistband in your mind is what you're looking to achieve. We're then going to take it to slow motion tilting. Breathe in, keep your shoulders away from the neck, gentle press against the chair as the exhaling, pelvic tilts you, and you start to get the internal oblique involved in positioning your pelvis. Breathing out, pelvic tilt, pelvic floor. There's no glute squeeze in this moment at all. It's your deep internal muscles, and no matter who you are, what age you are, if they don't get invited to the party, they don't play, and they lose their sensation as to what they should be about. So you're exhaling, and I can, when I tune into this, physically feel my left hip going, oh, I'm slightly out of alignment. I'm in the front of the pelvic bones when I say hip. It's your anterior superior iliac spine, for those that need to know. People, the next time you find yourself out of the gentle imprint and into your neutral, you'll stay. You'll stand up, pushing against your heels. I'm going to bring the feet slightly close together, but not so close that the glute band slides down my legs. Find your squat again, which should happen quite easily. And here we start to load single leg without shifting the pelvis or losing neutral. Pick up your right heel to tiptoes, leave it in tiptoes, and then sit deeper down. Keep, if it's your right leg that you've done the tiptoes position for, keep the load through the right hand more than the left, because you've got your left heel, right hand, helping you moderate a true neutral spine length. If done correctly, this will not go to the front of the knicker line, it will go to the hamstring glute, it won't go towards the sacrum. If it is, then you're either twisted or you're not core connecting, or the move's still too big for you. If the move's too big, you'll simply play around with exchanging load from one side to the other. I'm now going to move to the other side, reset, shrink, hollow, and allow the ground and my hamstring and glute. Remember, you push the ground away, you push it. You can put load through the ball of the foot, big toe on the other side of the body, and that keeps you grounded through the front. But the emphasis is here, building up this stability single leg connection. People, the next time, push both heels down. Now to come up then, press your hands, exhale, pelvic tilt without squeezing your glutes, and find the forwards rolling spine, bringing you back up to stand. Progressing now to your single leg lunge. Find the squat, take your time, make sure your hands are right. Pick up your right foot, keep centered through the upper body, and tap back, tap forwards. Exhale, tap back and reach the band. Inhale and tap forwards. All the while reaching parallel, rather than allowing the leg to be pulled to the midline, which would be across here. If anything, you want the sense of reaching slightly over, because it's my right leg, I'd say slightly over to the right. I'm going to do one more and then keep the leg back. I've more or less got a diagonal line. I'm going to find the balls of the feet, toes, and pull myself into this lunge position, and then push myself back. So the arms straighten, the knees bend. Dip and forwards and down. Again, the truth would be, if you don't use your obliques and your breath muscles to create the internal oblique, you'll get nothing. Stay here this time. Check that your front knee isn't forwards of your toes. You're staying with the pelvic position. Put your left hand onto your left hip bone, front leg, and expand the band 8 times. The expansion comes from the top of the thigh. Your knees just happen to follow the top of the thigh. The pelvic position is truly level from left to right. If you have the privilege of a mirror, you get that visual. Either way, you could just look at the bar, but don't poke your chin forwards. And after that 5th moment there, stay, and then lower down and down. This is your final 5. Helping the quad. The flexors on a sway back tend to be long and weak, so this is why you feel this exercise so demanding on your posture. All right, and stay, hinge forwards, and elegantly, without first, bring the legs back together. Ready for the other side. Find your squat. Take the time to monitor your own alignment. And then peel the foot to tiptoes. For me, it's my left leg this time, and push it back. Make sure it feels right. Front leg doesn't go forwards of the knee over toes, and then slide it in and push it back. So I know on my posture, which isn't sway back but is definitely asymmetrical, that my left hip bone continuously wants to just ease out of shape. So by doing this discipline, I'm reminding all the muscles that make up the weakness, the asymmetry, where they really belong, and invite them into a party. Certain muscles will only ever work with alignment, and they're the ones we're interested in. People, the next time the leg goes out, leave it out. Make sure the ball of the foot, big toe, remember you're parallel, not on a tightrope position. And then from there, back you go, bend the elbows, forward you go. It matters to keep the back heel to the ceiling. I should have probably said that last time, but I kind of hope you know that now. So you're pulling yourself backwards and forwards by pulling into this leg and then into the other leg and back. pulling into your front heel as you go back, pushing away with your front heel. In and away. Now pull and push against the band. Arms are level, you've got everything level. Pelvic position, you've organised to make sure it stays level. You're pulling your thighs against the band and you're staying with the thigh, particularly the front thigh, pulling out, taking your load to the outside of your foot. As you then lower and lift. The lowering and lifting, if you want to monitor your hip, draw the pelvic floor up, shrink the abdomen in. There should be no bulging bellies at this point. It's all shrunken, hollowed. No tucking under of the bum cheek, as otherwise you deprive the muscles that we're trying to get to, which is your baggy bum part, okay? Next time is your final moment, and then pull up and pull together. From there then, you're ready to do a roll down. So find the squat, put the hands here. Remember, roll down for sway backs is more about the neck and rib cage. So breathe in, breathe out, bend your ribs and slide the hands, thinking more of the rib cage, navel to spine, and stay. Exhale, do a quick reach of the hamstring. Inhale, bend, and you're going straight into your hands and knees positioning. Moving on from yesterday's workout, or part 2, the hands are spread, the knees can feel the band, and the face is over the head cushion. You're breathing deeply in and out. First shape, take the feet so that you can feel the ground ready to push against the feet for hovering. You'll breathe out, pull the chin to the throat, and pull the rib cage up into the spine in your mind without the lower back tucking under. Are you ready for your knee hovers to pyramid? Exhaling, hover the knees, see the knees, breathe in. Breathe out, watch the legs go up, breathe in, and they hover. Pull against the band as your legs go up. Refuse to tuck your bottom under, so you press your hands against the ground. And the discipline here is to be sure that you really do breathe out to pull the rib cage in. Stretch against the band lightly. If you can't feel your obliques, then you think of it as an arms and legs exercise, and you will have lost your forwards bent rib cage. Allow that to be the last one, and just take the body back for 2 or 3 moments, creating symmetry and making sure that if your back got snagged in anyway, that you move on. Okay, new position for side lying. If you feel you could put your head cushion under your head and under your arm without any shoulder impingement, then this is a good position to do. Otherwise, you go back to this. Moving on then, I'm going to try and demonstrate to you in this alignment. Remember, sway backs, you're more banana than you are aligned. Heels, hips, and shoulder area. Use a straight line, and here we go. Have it so that your feet are parallel. It's as though you stood on them. Put your hand across the lower hip bone area, bikini line area. Okay, you're breathing in and out, and your waist off the floor on the side, you're lying. If you do a slight hover with the underneath leg, you've got 5 breaths, and herein lies your side lying balance. Inhaling and exhaling. If you find you can't quite hover the underneath leg, and if you realise your legs have gone behind you, classic sway back, then keep the underneath leg whispering to the ground, as it were, just that sense of it knows where the ground is. And now we start the movement. Breath out then, pelvic floor navel to spine, leg lifts and lowers back to where it was. Exhaling, so keeping a gentle tension on the band. And remember, it's your thigh that pulls against the band. The foot, the lower limb, follows the upper limb. And the lower limb works efficiently if the pelvic stability is playing its part. This is all about your side stabilizers, and on a sway back, hence the obliques and the side bum, that's where you struggle the most. You're not alone though, don't worry. Next time the leg's up there, stay. Now breathe out and let your underneath leg lift. Inhale and lower. So now we're keeping the activation of the side buttock area as we let the leg lift and lower. And lift underneath leg so the adductor has to activate as well. And lower. Now keep the lower leg down again and pull it down. Inhale, lower that top leg, lift it against the band, and we add our hip hitch. That's where you pull the hip bone up. Inhale, push the hip bone away and down. So you've got up against the band, exhaling, shrink, the waist closes underneath and shortens at the top, and then you push away, the hip goes back to parallel, lateral, and back down. 3 more. Exhaling, lift and hitch, shrink navel to spine. You have to use pelvic floor. You'll feel this fascia and musculoskeletal system here, and it feels really strong. The side bottom is working really hard. Check you haven't rolled back, deferring to a weakness, and back down. And last time, exhaling, shrinking hollow. Inhale, push away and down. Finally here then, you're going to take the heel forwards and backwards of the underneath leg. So you're arcing and lead with your heel. Exhale, inhale. Pelvis stays absolutely true. And your abductor working really hard. Heel, and then think side of the flat foot area, and you'll get a kind of strength and length activation. 1 more. And let that go. You're coming straight back to hands and knees. When you go to hands and knees, I'm turning around just ready for the other side again. Place the head cushion to know where your face should be. Keep your chest between your hands. Exhale and hollow through the abdominal area. Yes, you should feel really alive on your left bum cheek and abductors. But you're going to float your right leg back. Check that it stayed parallel and hasn't come to your midline, and hold that there. Breathe. Exhaling then, either pull your hand across to your right hand hip bone or salute, whichever you want, but keep your chest forwards, face over the head pad. You're going to do 10 lifts and lowers against the band to feel the hamstring. So the armpit and hand, so it's the right hand, armpit, left knee, shin, hip bone to right, and only the breathing muscles are going to keep that connection. You can feel the hamstring work against the band. Another 4, 3, suck your armpits in, crease of the elbow facing forwards, and hold, breathe. Breathe, just hold it, feel the activation, deep hamstring, up into the bum cheek, and pull the leg back. Absolute alignment, hands and knees, hands either side edge of the mat, and send your other leg away, check where it went. Hand goes either to the hip bone or to salute, whichever way. The upper shoulder area, you can even have it here, has to activate. So I'm back into oblique work. Remember, rib cage breathing. I know if I could see you in the studio, I'd be coming around and tapping your ribs, because you try and do all of this just using arms and legs. If you don't find the discipline as a sway back to make every breath shift your rib cage alignment, then you'll never quite get that band of view that will always be wayward. You could indeed put your thumb finger on the last 2 ribs and monitor how the breathing muscles shrink them tighter as those breathing muscles engage. They are internal, external obliques, and that's what you need more of to stabilize the spine and keep yourself strong in the right places. Last time, hold. And let that go. Into your side line again. So final side line to develop that series. Remember, straight line it if you can. If you're not yet ready For this balanced position, then remember the traditional position. Because I'm not a sway back, although I have shoulder issues, so shoulder issues also negate this position sometimes, I'm better at side lying in a balanced shape. So we're going to stay heels stacked, hover the leg, feel for the band, feel for your rib cage, and have that moment of 5 breathing moments where you're inviting without activity the pelvic floor to draw up, the navel to draw to the spine, breathing in and out, and in and out. Remember, you can whisper to the floor with the underneath leg if you need that to get a better technique. And then we're ready to go. Inhaling, lower that top leg. Exhale. Inhale, lower. Exhale, rib cage. Inhale, lower. Remember, the ribs take their cue from pelvic floor, drawing up and over. Draw up, all the way around the navel area, the lower ribs. Keep some tension to the band. Stay. If you need to put your hand in place, do so. Otherwise, exhaling, underneath leg lifts and lowers. Exhale, ribs. Inhale, lower. Waist off the floor. Breathe out. And breathe in. And inhaling, waist off the floor, rib cage connection. You can feel your armpit on the underneath lying side. And lower the leg down to grounding. Now we go inhale, lower the top leg. Exhale, push and hitch. Suck it up. Breathe in, breathe out, push it away, and you're back to neutral. Inhale, exhale against the band. Shorten the waist, close the gap. Inhale, know the abductor working. Breathe out, push away and down. Exhaling, shortened, oblique area, and reach away back to level hip bones. Activate 1, suck up 2, push away 3, deactivate 4. Reactivate 1, hitch, shorten 2, 3, and 4. You've got 1 more. Exhaling, hold, shrink, and back, and hold. Staying there then, you're going to go behind and heel. Behind, so press this underneath leg against the floor and heel. Up, it's like a semicircle. The pelvis can't shift as your thigh moves within it, but the abductor here, so if you sway back with a bit of flattening out, you know who you are. Just make sure you've still got that neutral position and the waist off the floor. 1 more. And let that go. Okay, folks, to finish this moment off, you can take yourself straight to hands and knees with a smaller distance between the hand position and the knees. Toes are tucked under, feel for the band, so your thighs are maybe wider than they normally go. You pull your chin to your throat, breathe in. Exhaling, start pressing against the ground. Check both feet are level as you then go to the equivalent of down dog, calf stretch, but your pelvic shape is absolutely level, okay? Hips, pelvis neutral, straight spine, no tucked under bottoms. And as you press down through your heels and the heels of the hands and rock a bit, you'll get a fantastic lengthening out of this hamstring gluteus you've been working. Keeping the rib cage shrunk and hollowed abdominal area, and then start to walk your hands back, bend your legs, slide your hands to your ankles, breathe in, let your head hang. Breathe out, put your hands on your knees, keep the legs bent. Exhale again, feel the belly pull in from the ribs, pelvic tilt then, and return your spine to a stand. So, that was the final one. It will be added to. Once I've done the other postures, 3 parts to them, I will come back to the sway back and layer something more onto it. Now, by the time I come back to this sway back positioning, you should find you're ready to have another layer. In terms of doing other videos, of course, they're all appropriate because they're appealing to every posture type. And even when I do the next posture type, still get involved because it'll actually cue you about things you need to do. Thank you for another 15-minute moment. I'm glad it's all quiet again now, but that's the reality I have here at the studio to work with. But I'd rather we get this done than not do it till I'll be a hostage to what's happening in all the other places around me. Take care, stay well, and stay Pilated. See you again.